Now, let's go ahead and talk about the node editor doc. And this kind of gives you, these are called signals. And you can think of them as like event handlers if you're used to Java or C++ or something. But basically what it is whenever one of these conditions is met, it'll call this function. So if the visibility is changed on this block, it will call a function to whatever you have, to whatever script you have it connected to. You can have a ready function if it's ready, if it's been renamed, if the script is changed, all these different options. And it changes depending on what node you have selected. So these ones are all kind of the same. So let's go ahead and add like a UI element that we can interact with to give you a better idea. So under main, let's add the plus button, and we can add a button. And as you can see, UI elements are kind of in this green color. So we can click button, press create. And as you can see, it changes the context of the window to 2D because that's what we're dealing with now. We can make this button a little bigger, move it around. This kind of shows you your screen view is this area right here. So let's move it over here. We can also add a child node for a label. Create that and center this a little bit. And then if you look at the inspector, when you have the label selected, you have the options for a label, which gives us this text option. So we can say click me. Center this a little bit, just kind of eyeballing it. And now, if we play, we can see we have this button here. It doesn't do anything, but we have this button. So I'm kind of stealing this from the book, so be sure to check it out. But this is just a quick example. So now let's add a script to our main object because we want to add it to the main because we're going to be referencing some of the children inside the main. And so to add a script, you press this script button, and you can change what type of language you want to use. And so this inherits is kind of special because what it is like each node has different things that you can do with it. So like a camera node, you can change the field of view and stuff. You can't change the field of view of a spatial node because it's not a camera. So when you inherit from the spatial class, it's going to give you all options available to you that is unique to the spatial class. So you can think of it kind of like Java. You have classes with parents and children. That's kind of the same idea. It's object oriented, where you just can kind of inherit from the spatial class depending on what node you use. So let's go ahead and create a script. As you can see, it loads our script context up here. And this is just some stuff to help you out to get ready. We'll talk about that later, but for now, let's just delete that and save this script. So now if we go back to the button and to the node menu, we have these signals, right? And these are all the different things that can happen to this button. The button can be pressed down, it can be released up, it can be pressed, toggled. If the mouse is entered, exited, if it's been resized, all these different things are signals that will issue a function. So let's go ahead and say if it's pressed, we can connect it, and we want to connect it to that main script we just made. So if we click main, it's going to add this function. You can change the name of this, but we'll just keep it how it is for now. And it's going to say on button press. It's going to add a function in the main. So let's go ahead and connect it. And so here, we don't need this pass, but on button pressed, we can do something. So something cool about gdscript is you can reference children pretty easily with the $sign. And so with the $sign, you can go through and let's change the block. So right now we're just referencing this object block. Because we use the $sign, we could choose any of these, and we want to choose the block, and we want to set the visibility. So we're going to go visible, and we want to set it equal to whatever it's not. So for example, if it is visible, then we press the button, then we want it to not be visible. If it's not visible, then we want it to not be visible, which would mean it is visible. So we can type in the keyword not, and then we can reference block again. And we can say visible. Cool. So now if we save this and run it, every time we click this button, if it's visible, click it, it's not visible. If it's not visible, click it, it's not visible.